Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Hi everybody. My name is Michelle and this is Serious Spanish. Today we're going to talk about the Spanish alphabet and pronunciation, or el abecedario y la pronunciación. And the really exciting thing about the Spanish alphabet is that the letters make very few different sounds. In other words, if you know the sounds the letters make, which is typically only one sound or maybe two different sounds, you can generally pretty confidently read and pronounce what you are reading in Spanish. And likewise, if you hear something, you got to be able to spell it fairly accurately. This is quite different from the English language, where there are very many sounds and very many rules and exceptions to rules. So there are some different pronunciation rules that we're not going to go into in depth, but today we're going to learn the most common pronunciations of the different letters of the Spanish alphabet and practice pronouncing some words that are spelled with those letters. So let's go ahead and get started. The first letter of the Spanish alphabet is the letter A. It's always pronounced A, such as in avión. And when I say these words, I'm going to say it quickly. You practice it, and then I'm going to say it slower, and you can repeat it. Avión, avión. Águila, águila. Lata, lata. Now, you see some of the words have accent marks, so if you see an accent mark on a word, that's the syllable that you want to stress. If you don't see an accent mark on a word, then there are some other rules that we're not going to go over today about which syllable is stressed. But if you do see an accent mark, you can know for certain that that syllable is the one that's to be stressed. Moving on, letter B. This does not make a strong B sound as in the English alphabet, but it's a softer sound and the lips don't really quite come together. And if they do, it's just this very slight tap. So examples of this would be bota, bota, bandera, bandera, abogado, abogado. Our next letter is the letter C. C can have two different pronunciations or sounds in Spanish, and they're very familiar to how we hear or we pronounce the letter C in English. So the first sound is going to be k, k, and that is normally what we call the hard C, and that is the sound that it will most likely take unless it comes before a Spanish I or a Spanish E, and then the letter makes a S sound. So very similar to the English rules for this. Examples are cama, cama, vaca, vaca. And then for the soft pronunciation, we have cine, cine, bicicleta, bicicleta. All right, moving on. The next letter looks like a double letter to us, but it is its own letter in the Spanish alphabet, and it is the letter che. And it sounds just like our hard CH sound in English. So examples of that are chocolate, chocolate, chicle, chicle, muchacho, muchacho. Our next letter is they. And this is not a very hard, abrupt sound like D, but it's more of a tap of the tongue. Our first word is dentista. Dentista. Dedo. Dedo. And helado. Helado. So just a little tip, you can watch yourself in the mirror while you're practicing pronounce. That'll help. Watch how my mouth moves and where my teeth and my tongue are when I pronounce these letters and these words, and you can try to imitate that when you're on your own practicing your pronunciation. Our next vowel in the Spanish alphabet is the letter E. E. And it's similar to the long A sound in English, however, it's much shorter. E. E. That's the only sound it's going to make. So, examples. Escuela. Escuela. And you can see there are two es in that word. Escuela. You hear them both. The U, what looks like the U, the Spanish U, and the E combined very rapidly, but you can still hear them both. Escuela. Elefante. Elefante. Deseo. Deseo. Next we have the letter F, and it's pronounced like the English F, such as in falda, fa, da. Fuego, fuego. Rifa, rifa. Next is the letter He. He. And like the letter Se, it has a hard sound in Spanish and a soft sound. The hard sound is g, g, g. And it's usually how we pronounce the letter He in Spanish, except for when it comes before a Spanish E or a Spanish I, and then it's pronounced So, let's look at some examples. Gato. Gato. Luego. Luego. Both of those are the hard sound for the letter He. Then we have some examples of a soft sound. Girasol. Girasol. And fingir. Fingir. Our next letter is the letter H, and it's very easy. It is always silent. Hamburguesa. 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 You don't hear the Hielo. Hielo. Búho. Búho. So you shouldn't hear the H in any of those words. Our next vowel is the letter E. And it sounds like the long E in English, but much shorter. E. Such as in iglesia. Iglesia. You should have heard 2 instances of the letter E. And the last couple of letters are very rapidly combined together, but you can still hear the E. Iglesia. Información. 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 Indígena. Indígena. Next we have the letter J. And the letter J makes the H sound, such as the soft Spanish G, such as the soft He. So examples are juguete, juguete. Joya. Joya. And ejército. Ejército. Now, the letter ca in Spanish is not very native to the actual Spanish language, but it's been brought in from foreign words that have been brought into the Spanish language. So you will see it, but it's usually used for words that come into the language from a foreign source. It sounds like the hard say, k, k, k. Koala, ko-a-la. Kilo, ki-lo. Parka, parka. So you'll notice that all examples, all those words we recognize, and so they aren't native Spanish words, but they've entered the language from a foreign source, and they've kept the letter ka in their spelling. The next letter we have is L, and it sounds like the English L, L. Libro, libro. Lentes, lentes. Alambre, alambre. Okay, this next letter looks like we made a mistake and typed the L twice. But it's its own letter, and it has its own unique sound in Spanish, and this is the letter ella. So the sound it makes is y, y, y. Now, you may hear it pronounced a little differently depending on where in the Spanish-speaking world you are. It may sound more like a ja, with almost a little bit of an English J sound, or especially in Argentina and Uruguay, you may hear it pronounced sh, sh, sh. Sh, sh, like the SH in English. But for practicing, we'll go ahead and pronounce it yeah, yeah. As in llamada. Llamada. Lleno. Lleno. Hallazgo. Hallazgo. M is pronounced like the English M. Moneda. Moneda. Mariposa. Mariposa. Amable. Amable. Moving on, we have the letter N. And it is pronounced much like the English N, as in nuez. Nu-es. Nada. Na-da. Grano. Gra-no. Next, we have the letter Ñ, which is a different sound, and it's its own letter. And this sound makes the sound of the NY in the word canyon. So, ña, ña, Ñ. There aren't too many words in the Spanish language that start with this letter, but there are a couple. One of them is ñandú. Ñandú. Or ñoño. ño. It's more common somewhere in the middle of a word, such as in cariño. Cariño. The letter O is another vowel, and it always has the long O sound, like the long O in English, but shorter, not O. O. Hola. Hola. Ojo. Ojo. Soñar. Soñar. All right, we're over halfway through now. Let's see what's next. The letter P. P is much like the English P, but it is a little shorter. Pan. Pan. Palabra. Pa-la-bra. Empapado. Empapado. The letter Q sounds differently from the English Q. In Spanish, it always needs to be followed by a Spanish U, and you will see it in the combinations of Spanish Q, Spanish U, Spanish I, or Spanish Q, Spanish U, Spanish E. It does not make a Q sound, but rather a K sound, like the Ka or the hard Se. So examples are queso, queso, quizás, quizás, pequeño, pequeño. This is the letter R. And this probably gives English speakers the most trouble in the Spanish pronunciation. There's two different ways that it can be pronounced. If it is at the beginning of a word, it is trilled rrr. And if it's in the middle of the word, it's a light tap of the tongue on the roof of your mouth. R. So really, the best advice I can give for this is to practice. Try to avoid making the sound as in English. And practice putting that tongue behind your teeth on the palate and blowing air through it, and you'll eventually get it. So let's practice. Ratón, ratón. Rojo, rojo. Carne, carne. Barato, barato. The next letter is the R. So it looks like a double R. And it is always trilled. There aren't words that start with this letter because you don't need the double R at the beginning of the letter. So you only find this in the middle of a word, such as guerra, guerra, perro, perro. And I want to point out something about this word. Perro is dog, but if you spell it with one R in the middle, looks like the Spanish P-E-R-O, it's pero, and it means but or however. So it's really important to practice your pronunciation so that you can distinguish between the two words. Hierro, hierro. Let's move on to something a little simpler. This is the S, and it makes the S sound, such as in silla, silla. Salsa, salsa, and promesa, promesa. Then we have te, and it sounds t, such as teléfono, teléfono. Tiempo, tiempo. Tormenta, tormenta. Our fifth vowel in the Spanish alphabet is the letter U. And it does not make the U sound, but rather U, short U. So our examples are ustedes, ustedes, uvas, uvas, and luz, luz. Next we have V or V, or sometimes you might hear it called V chica, V corta, but it is not like the English V. It doesn't have that hard V sound. It's pretty much identical to the Spanish V. So, top of your teeth, just slightly touch your bottom lip, and it's a short, soft sound. Examples are vaso, vaso, vaca, vaca, invitación, invitación. This next letter is called W or W or W. Like the ka, it also is a foreign letter that has entered the Spanish alphabet with foreign words, and it's pronounced like the English W. Wafle, wafle. Whiskey, whiskey. Software, software. So as you can tell, these words, these examples of the W are all foreign words. Foreign words are the only ones where you will see the W in Spanish. We have arrived at X. X. This is an interesting letter, just as it is in English. It usually makes a X sound, as it does in English, X. But sometimes it might make just a S sound, and sometimes maybe even a H sound. So let's take a look. Xilófono, xilófono. Xenofobia, xenofobia. Examen, examen. México, Mexico. This is the letter Y, or you might hear it called Y, and it makes the same sound as the ella, the double L in Spanish. Y, y. In some situations, you might see it used as a vowel, but this is rare. And if it is used as a vowel, it makes the same sound as the letter Y. So examples are yogur, yogur, yerno, yerno, ayuda, ayuda. And this is where you might hear a little bit of a vowel sound, muy, muy, muy. Ya llegamos al fin. We've arrived at the end to the letter zeta. And zeta always makes a S sound. I should note that if you go to Spain, it will make a th sound. And so will the soft letter se. It will make a th sound in most of Spain. But for Latin American Spanish, we pronounce it as S. So examples are zona, zona, zoológico, zoológico, and azul, azul. We made it through the abecedario, and now you know the sounds that all of the Spanish letters make, and you ought to be able to start practicing reading Spanish words. Even if you don't know what they mean yet, you ought to be able to pronounce them fairly well. So practice in front of a mirror, listen and repeat. And if you're interested in learning more about how to speak Spanish, please visit my website. Adios.